I know that people have a lot of questions about this, and there's so much confusion out there. So I really want to, I guess, set the record straight. Having been there myself, done it, worked with lots and lots of authors who have also done it, in the process of doing it again. I guess I don't have all the answers, but I've got quite a few, certainly of a lot of the basic things. And, that's what I'm here to share tonight. For me, it's nighttime. Now, I am just going to check that everything's working, because that's really going to be sad if it's not. So let me see. Need to start automatically. Okay. Let's see if the sound. This happened last time. No sound. There is sound. Okay, great. Okay, so welcome to everyone who's arriving, and I'm doing this one, this webinar. I usually do them at a different time, but thought I'd try it at 7 p.m. Aussie time. So it's really good for people in Australia and also people in Europe. Not so good for people in the US, but I just thought I'd mix it up, try something a bit different. And so hopefully you are starting to trickle in and arrive here for this webinar, which is going to be all about self-publishing. Now, if you have any questions or anything you're not clear about, this is the time to ask me. Ask me whatever you like. I'm going to be covering a ton of stuff. We're definitely going to be starting right on time, because I've got basically two choices. Either I cut out a lot of material that I've got planned for this webinar, or I just move really, really quickly through it. So I think at this point, I'm just going to move through it really quickly. I'm going to try and keep it to an hour. That's definitely my goal. And that is going to be, I guess I'm going through all of the basic stuff about self-publishing, but also looking at, I suppose, some of the things that I have strong opinions about. So I'm going to share those with you, and you'll get to see what they are soon. Okay, well, it is now right on 7 o'clock, so I am going to get officially started. I'm going to say welcome, and please ask any questions in the chat box, because that's where I'll be able to get your questions and give you answers, possibly. I should be able to. So that is my goal tonight. And let's see. Okay. We're going to share the screen. So I'm planting the seed of the Sow, Cultivate, Harvest system, which is a system I've developed for publishing and marketing your own book. I really believe that each of us who wants to write a book, or who has written a book, very much has the ability to do this themselves. So this is the system, and I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later, but I just wanted to give you a quick kind of glance at what it looks like. So it's all about getting that book out of your head and into the world and selling. So let's start with, what is it all about tonight? So this is everything you wanted to know about self-publishing, but were afraid to ask. So if you've got any of those questions around books, this is the place we're going to talk about it. Now, why a book? I guess one of the things that so many people want to write a book, because they've got knowledge that they want to share. It builds authority. It is amazing when you write a book in your industry. It's incredible what it does to your standing in that industry. Certainly if you've got something important to say on a topic, and some people just want to leave a legacy. They feel that a book is the way to do it. if you love the idea, but you're not sure about the execution, and believe me, it's more common than you might think. If you're not quite sure where to start, or you're just wondering, would it even be worth it? Because, it does take some effort. I'm going to go through tonight exactly how much effort it takes, but it sure does take some effort. So, is it even worth it? I think that's one of the things that it gets people a little bit worried, because they put all this effort in, and then, what happens if it's not even worth it? Now, there's two main stumbling blocks that people get tripped up by, and this is these are the two main things that stop you from getting that book out of your head and into the world. And they are, how do I actually publish it? Like, what is, it's such a scary big word. So how do we publish it? And how do you market it? So once you've got your book out there, how do you make sure it's going to be selling? So that's the first thing that stops people from going any further. The second stumbling block is the self-publishing myths. These are the things that I'm going to be dispelling tonight. So things like it must be hard to self-publish, or it must take forever. It must be so time-consuming. It must cost a lot of money. And this last one is a really big one. A lot of people have this idea that a self-published book is low quality. And I am calling it right here, right now, the myth destroyer. So this is, I'm here to let you know that no, that's not the way that it has to be. It's not the way that it is. When you are writing or self-publishing a book, it is actually amazing that you can have a very good quality book, and I'm going to be going into exactly how in this training. So these are some of the common questions that I get. I'm not going to go through them all. You can see there are all these kind of things like, what is KDP? How long does it take to write a book? All of these kind of things. So we're going to be answering these questions tonight. What's the difference between an ebook and a hard copy? What is vanity publishing? So all of these are the things that that we're going to be checking out. We're going to be looking at. Okay, so there you go. I'm going too fast. Tell you just a brief little bit about myself. So I'm Kylie. I've met some of you online, and others I've probably met. Maybe this is your first introduction to me. So there's a few bits of information about me. I've got, I'm a mother. I am not a wife. I do have two books that have both been, and one of them still is a bestseller. Cats and Rabbits. Cats I wanted, rabbits I didn't, but somehow that's what's happened. One of the things I really want to point out here is I'm not a good speller. I'm actually dyslexic in some ways, and I still managed to write a best-selling book. So it just goes to show that, there's a lot of misinformation, and really, if you put some of the things I'm going to be talking about into practice, anyone can do it. Here are my babies. So as you can see, they've got those #1 bestseller tags, which I think every author, if you manage to get them, very, very proud of. I wanted to just show you a screenshot that I took. I actually didn't take it today. I took it a few days ago, but I looked today and it's exactly the same place. So this is a book that was published a year ago, actually just over a year ago, and it's still #1 in all of its categories. Now, I think the stuff that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight, the marketing stuff especially, and also this is the stuff I go in depth in my course about how to create a book that is going to sell itself. I think that's kind of the key, because nobody wants to be schlepping around trying to get random people to buy a book here, a book there. That's never going to get you to bestseller, and it's certainly not going to keep you at bestseller for a year. And this is my latest book, which has not been published yet, but its cover is done. I'm very excited about that. I think if any of you have listening tonight have written books, you will know the excitement of getting your cover done. It really is pretty cool. Okay, so why a book? Look, even today, it is amazing when you tell people that you've written a book, the reactions that you get. I can guarantee you there is respect that you instantly get for doing that. I love the passive income part of it. You know, every single month that check just comes in. I mean, some months bigger than others, and of course, the more books you have, the more you're going to get. But it really is passive once you have actually published it. It's a fantastic tool for building your business through getting emails. So I think anyone who has an online business or pretty much any kind of business knows that having a strong and active email list is key, and a book is the most amazing tool for doing this. I'm going to go into that a little bit more depth later. And yeah, it is your legacy. It's there forever. And, you know, I believe that you know, like the royalties for your book continue to be given to your, you know, whoever you've left them to in your will for, I think, 20 to 30 years after you die. So it really is a legacy. But it's not so much the money. It's really the ideas in the book that is your legacy. So this is the whole point of it. Take you from idea to published. And it has never been so rapid, rewarding, or within reach of everyone. And I cannot emphasize this strongly enough. This is what really excites me about it. The fact that really anyone can do this. It's so amazingly, what can we say? It's so available that, look, let's have a look at this. So let's talk about rapid. How long does it take to publish? Not write your book, because that hasn't changed. The way you write a book is the same as it was 100 years ago, but the way you publish a book, that's a whole different beast. So it actually takes minutes, not years, as it does when you go in the traditional way. And we have this amazing platform called Amazon, which makes it easy for everyone and gives you access to billions of readers. It's pretty amazing. Now, the rewarding part of it, well, this I love too. You get the vast majority. If you price your book between $2.99 and $9.99, you get 65% of the royalties, which is, you know, pretty impressive. And as I've already said, exposure to billions. So really, you know, if you're clever, if you're savvy, and that's what I'm here to show you how to be savvy. I mean, I get new people on my list every single day from Amazon, and these are people that, you know, I would never have access to in a million years. They're Amazon customers, but because they're getting my book, they're my customers now. Well, they're on my list anyway. Okay, and within reach of anyone. So you don't need a publisher. And I am really this is my latest hobby horse, because in a few of the Facebook groups I'm in, we've been having these little arguments about what, you know, traditional publishing versus self-publishing, which I think that is a no-brainer, but versus, oh my goodness, versus vanity publishing, which of course the people who do it never call it that, but I'm gonna point out to you exactly what vanity publishing is and why you should avoid it like the plague. But you don't need any tech skills. It is so simple that, you know, really my 80-year-old mother could do it, and it costs pretty much nothing. In fact, it can cost zero if you want to put a not very good product out. If you want to put a fantastic product out, it's going to cost a little bit, but not much. I'm going to go through that too. And you don't need any sort of particular skills at all. It's, you know, apart from being able to write your book, that's it. So let's look at this old chestnut, traditional versus self-publishing. Oh my goodness, yes, I've got a few things to say about that. Okay, traditional, you really are handing over your control to, you're handing over your control if you go traditional completely. And really, they own everything. I'm not kidding. They decide what the cover's going to look like. They decide what they decide how much money you're going to get. Which is, let me see, I at last time I checked, it was between 8 and 13%. Now, remember, I just said 65% of you, if you self-publish, versus perhaps 8%. That's 8, not 80, 8%. Yes, it's insane. The length of time it takes. So it's amazing. You can self-publish in minutes. When you traditionally publish, you probably looking at 18 months from the beginning of the process. So, and of course, you really don't have much say in things like the cover, the title, and so on. And at the end of the day, and this is where I really get on my hobby horse, because I think a lot of us indie authors think that, well, they must know best. The traditional publishers, this is their business. They must know best. But I'm here to really burst that bubble. They don't know best. Unfortunately, it's an industry that is stuck in the 20th century. Things are changing so rapidly, and like a lot of industries, they're being left behind in this wave of the digital world. They haven't embraced it. They're not using the platform in the way that, I guess, how I see it should be used. They're not taking advantage of the incredible marketing opportunities at all. They're still doing it, in bookshops and book signings and all of these sort of things. And in fact, when it comes to things like marketing your book, traditional publishers, they're not going to do that for you at all, unless you are some big name who they know they're going to make a lot of money off. If you're just sort of Kylie Ansett, who they think, she's barely going to make us enough money to put the time into, that they won't. And vanity publishing is even worse. This is kind of like a hybrid. So vanity publishing, it's self-publishing, but they kind of say they do all the work, as the publishing work, which I'm about to show you is no work at all, but they make out like it's really, really complicated, and you need them and you need to pay them a lot. I have seen like charges of $20,000 for what they do, and they're taking advantage of the ignorance that's out there and the fear that people have around doing these things themselves. My mission is to empower indie authors to be able to do this yourself. It is not hard, and that's what you're going to find out tonight. It's not hard, and they're also out of touch. So the same as with the traditional publishers, they're not using the platforms of today, and that's what I am bringing to this, me personally. So I have a background as a copywriter as well, and also in sales. What I'm looking at is how do we use those? How can we use those tools in in a traditional format of a book? And my new course, which is Success Author System, is all about how to do that. Basically, you really do have to have your finger on the pulse of what today's readers want to be able to make the most out of it. Vanity publishing and traditional publishing do not. Now, let's look at the costs. Now, as I said, I am moving through this, so please drop any questions that you might have into the chat box, because I'll look at it from now. I'll look at it now and then, but basically, I'm going to keep moving really fast because, like I said, there's a ton of stuff I've added to this. I keep adding and adding because there's so much juicy stuff I want to share with you. So how much does it cost? Okay, this is great. There are 3 things you're going to spend money on when it comes to self-publishing. And this is in order of the amount of money you should spend and the importance of how much you should spend. So the first one, the first one is your cover. you need to spend money on a cover. Now, I don't know if you recall the covers that I showed you for my book a few minutes ago. Those cost me the first two $100 each. The second one has definitely cost quite a bit. Sorry, the third one that hasn't been published yet has cost quite a bit more. But at the end of the day, $100 is not a huge investment in something that if you only put $20 into it, that you're just definitely not going to get as good a result in anything, especially in your sales. Cover is so important. So put whatever money you have aside to spend on the cover. Can't emphasize that enough. Now, you also want to spend money on an editor. Again, you can get away with this if you have some skills yourself. Of course, you're going to self-edit. Self-edit is really just going through it over and over and over and over again, but you do need somebody else's eyes on it, and a paid editor is clearly going to be the best option. But you can use people who have skills in this area who, might be able to at least give you some feedback. Beta readers are sometimes really good for picking up typos and so forth. But whatever you do here, you need to put forward, obviously, a product that is as good as possible. Now, I'm focusing on nonfiction here. That is my genre. That's what I know about. But most of these will apply for fiction, but things like editing for fiction is quite different. I think you do need to get an editor to help you in the probably in a bit more depth for a fiction book, whereas nonfiction, there's less of that sort of what can we say, the kind of editing that is used for the structure. So it's still necessary, but there's less. And formatting. The formatter, again, you can do this yourself, so it can cost $0. So let me just give you a bit of an idea of the costs. Now, as I said, look, $20. I mean, I wouldn't spend that little on a cover. $2,000, I wouldn't spend that much. Your happy place will be somewhere in between, and it doesn't really matter if it's only, like, as I said, I reckon $100 is probably the minimum you want to spend for a cover. Now, editor, as I said, you can get away with $0 if you've got some really good contacts. And I'll tell you what I did with one of my books is I have a friend who is incredibly well read. She reads about a book a week, and she's a bit of a literary snob, and I knew that she would give me the lowdown, and she did. She went through my manuscript with a red pen, and it was invaluable. She told me, this needs more explanation. I don't quite understand what you mean here. I mean, that's what an editor is going to do. So I actually did pay her, but she's not an editor as such, but she did a pretty good job. Formatting, it can cost $0. I said at the top end $100, but I just saw someone quoting $250, which I thought was ridiculous. Look, learn it yourself. If you're trying to save money, learn it yourself. Otherwise, pay someone $50. The time it takes, okay, to actually write your book, if you put in an hour a day for 3 months, you will have a book ready to publish. This is, again, nonfiction, so just caveat here, everything I'm talking about is going to be in reference to nonfiction. That's what I have, much more experience with. But you want to publish your book quickly. So people who sit on a book for 6 months, for a year, you lose your passion, and what happens is you get distracted. Oh my God, I am so guilty of this. 3 months it's a good amount of time to really keep focused on one single project. By the time you're in it for 6 months, you've thought of 7 other books you want to be writing, and the one that you're in is starting to feel a bit stale. So that is the reason to get them out there quickly. The time it takes to publish, though, now this is where the world that we live in today is incredible. Minutes. You upload it, you hit publish, and in 2 to 24 hours, you'll have your books there ready to go. So this is what it looks like. You get your document. This is if you're doing Kindle or print. You have your formatted document ready to go. You upload it. You have your cover ready to go. You upload it. And you, 24 to 72 hours to actually be ready for purchasing There it is. You see that button there? You hit that one. You publish your book and it is ready to go. Now, the tech involved is incredibly simple. Formatting. If you want to format your own book, obviously you are going to have to learn some really basic stuff about how to work with a Word document. Again, you can always hand this off to someone else. Categories, it's not really tech, but I've included it here because I guess it's an area where if you're clever, you can maximize your exposure so that the algorithm, the Amazon algorithm is going your way. And this final one, there's a little bit of tech involved in collecting email addresses. So it's not a lot, but you do need to have an email service provider, and you're basically just going to link up a link within your book where you offer a bonus, and you start building your list. So let's look at these. The formatting. I've already touched on this, but you really do need to get this right, because a poorly formatted book, this is the kind of hallmark of a old school self-published book where there's a lot of crappy stuff out there. So you do need to make sure that you get the formatting right. There is plenty of information out there. Google it, YouTube it, buy a course on it, or pay someone else to do it. So it's either going to cost you time or money. It's not that hard. And it's not that expensive. I've done both. I've paid someone to do it and I've done it myself. The categories. Here's my tip for the categories. Choose two, one competitive and one non-competitive. And then you email Amazon, this is after your book's published, and you ask to be placed in 10 more categories. Now, that is a cool little tip that I'm giving to you right now. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference because Amazon will actually put you in the category that they think you're going to perform best in. So they kind of override some of your requests anyway. But you can get yourself listed in quite a few more categories just by asking them. Now, the list building. So this is the link that you're going to have inside your book. What I love about this is that even if I ran Facebook ads for a month of Sundays, I would never have access to the amount of people who are on Amazon. And the people who are on Amazon and are stumbling across my book are my ideal readers because they are stumbling across my book. So it is a platform of millions. So why not start collecting email addresses? Of course, you don't have access to email addresses when someone buys your book, but if you put a bonus offer into your book that is complimentary and very attractive, I'll give you an example. In my first book, which was about massaging, I put a link to a video of me showing a particular technique. Now, that has been quite popular. In my second book, I put a link to a 21-day challenge that people can do, and that has been really popular. So I get people every single day signing up. So, you know, this is incredibly powerful stuff. Some basic rules to remember. So how long should your book be? How much should your book be? And should you go ebook, print book, or audiobook, or all three? Okay. How long? So we call it the Goldilocks zone. This is for nonfiction. We talk about around 15 to 25,000 words. If it gets any longer, the point is that you'll lose people's attention. And part of the way you get paid for Kindle, and I am sort of focusing obviously on Amazon here, part of the way you get paid is by page reads if you're in Kindle direct publishing. Now, of course, if your book is really, really long, I mean, you know what it's like yourself. You love it, and then you get 3/4 of the way through it. I mean, you've got to really love it to finish it if it's a very, very long book. Here's your Goldilocks zone for pricing between $2.99 and $9.99, 65% royalties. I don't know why I said 70 there. I think sometimes maths, as I said, I'm dyslexic. There you go. That's my excuse. 65% royalties. Okay, so ebook versus hard copy. Now I don't know why I've written that there. Let's just skip that. All right, forget what I've written underneath it. Ebook versus the hard copy. So basically, I would suggest, if you want to keep it simple, start with an ebook and move on to the print version later. That's what I did with my first and my second book. I'm not going to do it with my third book because it's actually really easy, but I think it was just felt a little bit overwhelming at first. So I'm going to publish them all at once this time round. And it's really just a matter of having a different format for the document. Now, I do suggest going, so you've got Amazon versus the others. So reason I like to go what I call deep as opposed to wide. So I have chosen to use only Amazon, and yeah, I get that I'm putting all my apples into one basket, but there's a reason for that. And part of it is that I think it helps with the algorithm. You also get your free days with KDP. So if you're publishing only with Amazon, you have the ability to make your book free. Whoops. Sorry, for a couple of days, a quarter. But yes, you are putting, or I am, or you are if you choose to do it, all your eggs in one basket. And, you know, I think there's a trade-off there. So I like to keep it simple, and I do, no matter whether even if you do go wide, you'll find that the vast majority of your sales will come from Amazon anyway. So how to sell your book. Now, this is where the course that I am offering you, and I'm going to be giving you more details about that at the end where you can actually purchase it, but it's the marketing I call it, there's two things I use: reader enticement psychology, which is inbuilt marketing. I've touched on some of the aspects already, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more. And the leveraged launch, which is basically writing the algorithm of a launch team, using a launch team to ride the algorithm wave. That's what I mean. This is how I use these things with the reader enticement psychology. I call it the A, B, C, D, E, F of inbuilt marketing. So we're talking about the author page, the bonuses, the cover, description, the end matter, and the front matter. Now, all of these have elements that when you use marketing and copywriting techniques, conversion techniques to make sure that you actually get results, your book, this is where you'll get the kind of results that I've shown you with the second book that I wrote, where I did apply all of these techniques, where, you know, you're still getting sitting at number one a year later. The second one, the leverage launch. Now, this is all about riding that algorithm wave. So the point is that there's a strategy for pricing, there's a strategy for your promotions, and you use a launch team to help with those strategies. It means that when you hit publish, you do it with some, you get like, okay, so it's like surfing. You get the momentum going right at the beginning. Then you can just ride the wave. Now, the tease, please, squeeze method, which sounds really naughty, even though it's not, is actually just how you can work with a launch team to get the best out of them. And I actually go through these in the Success Author System. This is where I take you through all of the, and what I was talking about in the previous one, all of these, the reader enticement psychology, the leverage launch systems, because obviously, you know, each of them are quite in depth, but get them right and you will be riding that wave. This is the kind of results you can expect as well. Now, it's not all about being a number one bestseller, but I tell you what, it's certainly nice to see your book selling as opposed to not selling. Yes, as I have already shown you this image at the beginning, published May the 1st and sitting here at 1,500. I think it's 1,300 today. Anyway, something like that. Okay, so any questions? I know that we had some questions a little while ago, which were, let me see. Oh, yes. Okay, so questions about, okay, I'm just looking through here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. I think there's questions about this idea of the difference between a Kindle book and a print book. So let me, I'm going to come back to that. And there was another question there. Let me have a look. Oh, it's just disconnected. Here we go. There was another question around the vanity publishing, and I know, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more too. So, but let me tell you now, before I go back to those questions and give you some more feedback, and also talking about covers. There's a few questions about covers too, so I'm definitely want to get onto those. Oh, and also the bonus. How do you do the bonus? Yeah, the bonus questions. Okay, so that's really good because I'll have something really exciting to let you know in regards to that. So this is my course that I am offering right now. So it's called the Success Author System, and it is the secret to my success. It's really me giving all of the information. So I've touched on a lot of it tonight, but this is what it looks like. It's a three-act piece, as all the best stories are. It starts with the SO section, which is idea validation. This is really where you identify who your ideal reader is. That's what IR stands for. What your unique selling perspective is. So what makes your book different from what else is out there. And you validate your book, your idea or your angle before you even begin to write. Now, here's the good news. If you have already begun to write, or you're already at the end of your writing, you can retrospectively apply all of these things. So don't worry about that. It may change a few things when you go through for a final edit. There may be a few things you change, especially in the USP and maybe in the IR. But it can be applied retrospectively. But, you know, if you can begin with this in mind, it's going to help. The second act is the cultivate part. Now, this is where we are talking about the inbuilt marketing, the author page, the bonuses, the cover, the description, what you put at the end and what you put in the front. All of these things are going to create a book that will sell itself. It really is a self-contained system that works. And if you get these wrong, and I see people missing opportunities all the time, it really will kill your book. It will just mean that your book won't sell. So I go through exactly how to do each of these. And the final act is the harvest. And this is really the publishing and the launch team. So how to ride that, get the momentum going with your launch team, and then ride that algorithm wave. So I talk about how to work with a launch team, how to get a launch team together. Don't be scared by it. It sounds like some big project. It's not. It really isn't. You want to probably take I have a timeline tool so you can see exactly when you should be doing everything. But with your launch team, it's just a matter of knowing how to work with the small number of people. Doesn't have to be huge either. I go through the tech, the publishing, and the outsourcing, what shortcuts you can use, and how to promote your book. So that is the final act. So that's what's involved in the Success Author System. Now, if you want to know about this, we have you go to the Success Author System, successauthor-system.com. What that system I have just described, everything I have put there, it's $497 in value. That's what it's been valued at. I mean, I know you can just pull any number out of the air, and to a certain degree I have, but really I have done courses which have this sort of level on depth of information in them, and this is the kind of price they usually go for. So I am not charging that though. I am not. It's not going to be $497, okay? This is an introductory offer. So this is the first time I have sold this one. I'm in the middle of this launch, which is finishing in less than 2 days. So you have 2 days to jump on this offer until it goes away. You go to successauthor-system.com. Now, if you get it, you also have a couple of bonuses. The first one is for whoever it was who asked that question about the opt-ins, and I'm terribly sorry. But I can't see who that was. Oh, hello, Teodora. You were saying something. How much does the choice of title and cover matter? Okay, great. I'm going to get back to that. But for the whoever it was who was asking about, because I've lost that question now, the question about the bonus part of your book, where you get people's email addresses. Now, this is a bonus that I'm offering, which is an entire masterclass on creating an opt-in offer for authors. And I go through everything. I go through the tech, how to sort of link it up with your email service provider. I go through how to make sure you choose the right offer for your book and for your audience. So that is an entire masterclass on its own, which I have sold for $67 in the past. And I'm throwing that one in. And the second bonus is the Mind Map Your Book Masterclass. Now, this Mind Mapping Your Book, I love mind maps. And if anyone's seen any of my other webinars, a lot of the time I use mind maps to illustrate everything. But basically, if you mind map your book, you can save weeks from the process of writing it. So if you're interested in saving time and having your ideas kind of set out in a really coherent manner and also tapping into incredible creativity, then this masterclass is brilliant. Again, I have also sold this separately on its as a standalone for $67. So both of those are going to be included in the price for the Success Author System. You get both of those as well. So the introductory price is just $97. So it really is, as I said, in 2 days. So on Friday this week is when the doors close or the cart closes, and that's the final time it will be being offered at this price. And you do get those bonuses as well. You have instant access, and there is also, for people who want a mentoring option, you can also purchase 4 mentoring sessions with me for 2 payments of $149. So that will include the Success Author System, but also for one-on-one sessions with me where we can discuss anything. We can discuss your cover, we can discuss how writing hacks, anything. It's, pretty much open slather. It's really an opportunity to sit down and pick my brain and get some really, I guess, professional coaching. I've done one-on-one business coaching with people for years, and I've worked with many authors to support them. So if that sounds good, this is also a really good price for people. It is limited. Obviously, I can't have too many people on my books, but at the moment there are still some spaces left. So this is what you have to do. Go to successauthorsystem.com and click. And you'll see this. This is what the top of the sales page looks like. So you've got to scroll down. You can read it because it's really, I wrote this sales page and I reckon it's pretty good, even if I do say so myself. So you scroll right down the page and you get to this. So this is where you have the 2 options. You either do the $97 for the Success Author System, which is a one-time payment, which gives you instant access, or you can choose the mentoring option, which is 2 payments of $149. If you want to sit down with me, virtually and have some sessions that way. So you basically click your preference. You're going to get taken to a page like this where you have to fill in your details, and you'll eventually get taken to a PayPal button. And obviously you just do what you do with PayPal. So yeah, you're going to be paying through PayPal. So it's pretty straightforward. Now, there is a fast action bonus, but I am going to put this on hold and I'm going to go and see what those other questions were. So I know Theodora had a question about how much does the choice of title and cover matter? Okay, so this is a really good question. And one of the things I focus in a lot in the Success Author System is the importance of the cover and the title. But I start with the cover because the cover is like, what can I say? I would almost say 90% of the importance of your book. It's more important than the content. And that's sacrilegious to us authors to hear that, because we have just, slaved over our keyboards for the last months or even years, and the content is all that we care about. The cover is an afterthought for most of us. And the reason that what I teach is kind of twisting that around or turning that around is simply because if you want eyes on your book, if you want to sell your book, if you want to get your message out there, then the first thing you need to do is be able to market your book. And the way that begins is with the cover. So if you don't have what I call a clickable cover, something that in a postage stamp thumbnail view is going to grab the eyeballs of your reader, then you simply won't get any you simply won't get people clicking on it. Then it doesn't matter how fantastic the content is, they won't even get to see it. So does that make sense? Can you sort of see why the importance of the cover is there? Now, as far as, what makes a good cover and what makes a bad cover and how do you pick one for your genre and all that kind of thing, well, that is what I go through in the Success Author System. We go through that in detail so that you can choose a cover that's going to be a clickable cover. Now, as far as the title goes, also, it's the second most important thing. So again, it's still more important than the content, which, it breaks our hearts to hear that. But this is only if your objective is to get more people reading your book. The title is often where people are going to search for your book. Now, let me give you a really good example of this. I'm so proud of myself. I did move through this fast. I just looked at the time. So let me give you a good example of this. So my second book, 10 Years Younger, I was going to call that, what was I going to call it? Yes, The Fountain of Youth. In fact, some of my earlier manuscripts are still filed under that, The Fountain of Youth. And I had this whole image of the cover. It was going to have a picture of a woman kind of walking into a fountain and then walking out all kind of youthful. So then I did this thing, and Theodora and anyone else, take notes on this. What you need to do is you need to open up Amazon, and this is a really, really good hack for you. Go and open Amazon in an incognito window. What that means is you don't open it up in your normal browser. You'll find, say you're on Chrome, there's a little drop-down section on the side, and it'll say open an incognito window. Basically means that it's not using any of your previous information to, the cookies. Look, I'm not going to explain the details of it. Just open up an incognito window. Open up Amazon in that window. Then start typing in the search bar of Amazon. Now, I did this with The Fountain of Youth, and guess what? Nothing came up, because in the search bar of Amazon, it has this thing where it auto completes your sentence. And the most popular completion of sentences is what comes up. So if a lot of people are typing in The Fountain of Youth, then, I can type in, THE FOUN, and it will auto complete it, because 10 million other people have already typed that in. Well, guess what? It didn't auto complete it because nobody is typing it in. So I started doing a bit of research. I started doing a bit of experimenting, and guess what title did come up? 10 Years Younger. Now, that was one that auto-completed very quickly. And so that's why I chose. I was really attached to The Fountain of Youth. That's what I wanted to call it, but no. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea there. Now, the fast action bonus offer. Okay, so you've got 24 hours to act on this. Now, like I said, this offer closes in 48 hours, or a little bit more than 48 hours, but basically by Friday night, it will be closed. If you act in the next 24 hours from now, so this time tomorrow night, you will, if you purchase then, and I will know if you've purchased, because, well, obviously I will, you will receive what I call a tear down or a rewrite of your book blurb. That seems like a really hard sentence to say. So the description of your book. You can do it if you have it right now. I can do it, or you can. I want to show you. I'll give you an example. Or if you haven't written it yet, I can work on it when it is written. So basically, the description is the next most important thing. So Theodora was asking about how important is the cover and the title, and I've I've already gone into that. The next most important thing is the description. And that is why when you turn your description into a sales page, it goes from looking like this. So this is one I did just the other day for someone. Have you ever dreamed of crossing the Alcan, dodging moose, bear, and caribou? Here is your chance to ride along on an epic journey through the British Columbia, Yukon, and Alaska itself. The author spent 3 months in Alaska in the 1970s and had dreamed of the land of the midnight sun ever since. Finally, in the spring of 2017, he entrusted body and soul to his 21-year-old Subaru Outback and set out on a solo journey across some of the loneliest roads in Canada and Alaska. He encountered glaciers, every type of wildlife imaginable, the iconoclastic people of Alaska, and the most gorgeous scenery in America. Stuff full of over 100 photographs. It will show you what it's like to drive the Alaska Highway, the Dalton Highway, and to go above the Arctic Circle and see both the northernmost and westmost points of the United States. Okay, so this was his description. Now, it's not bad. In fact, there's a lot of really good stuff in there, but it's not, and that's what your description has to be. So I did a rewrite, and this is what it came out like. Is your spirit of adventure alive? Find out what it's really like to cross the Alcan and travel some of the loneliest and most spectacular parts of North America. If you dream of packing up your four-wheel drive, your snow boots and camera and setting off to explore the wilderness, this book will give you a rare glimpse into the land of the midnight sun, of moose and monumental glaciers. Join the author on his epic solo road trip through British Columbia, Yukon, and Alaska. Part personal odyssey, part sumptuous traveler's guide. Take an expedition into one of the last remaining wildernesses. If you hunger for adventure and want to discover untouched beauty, go and click the Buy Now button to experience the majesty of the untouched North for yourself. Now, as you can see, I've used a lot of the elements that he had there, but I've tightened it up and I've turned it into a sales page. This is about the person who wants to buy the book. The previous description, this was about him and his book. And that's what most authors think they need to do. They think they need to write a description that's about the book. So I'm going to blow that one out of the water. So 24 hours and you will get my eyes on your description, and I'll do a tear down like this for you. So what you get the Sow, Cultivate, Harvest, the foundations of your book, the reader enticement marketing plan, and the leveraged launch system, which is $4.95 in value. You get bonus one, the opt-in offers for authors to grow your list and know how to do it in a really effective way. And you get bonus two, the mind map your book masterclass, both $67 in value. So you get all of that, plus, so that's worth $629. I don't know. Yep. There you go. That's what it's worth. There is also a 30-day money-back guarantee. So no questions asked. If you get it and you go, actually, change your mind, this wasn't for me, then there will be a refund of your $97. So you just need to go to successauthorsystem.com. I will actually put the link in the chat box. Oops. I don't know where we are. There we go. And just jump in there, and $97 is the introductory offer. But as I said, we have only until Friday evening to have that price. And when I release it again in a few months' time, which I probably will, I haven't got the exact date, it will probably be at least double that, maybe more. So any other questions about self-publishing, about the system, or about your journey, this is the time to ask them. And I did have, oh yes, so now there was that, where is it? There was a question earlier, which I can't actually see now, but it was about the vanity publishing. So let me just go onto that. And if there are any other questions, drop them in there. But or also on the YouTube video, because you'll notice that there is a place you can put questions there. And let me just go to that. Yep. So with the vanity publishing, so the thing about that is there is really, oh my goodness, there are these companies out there, and I think I was living in a little bit of a a Fantasyland or a Pollyanna Land because I wasn't even aware of them. And these companies will charge like wounded bulls to do all the stuff that I have just been describing, which everything that this webinar was about. They do that and charge you $5, $10, $15, $20,000. Now, I mean, if it is worth it to you to pay someone $20,000 to find a cover designer, you know, I mean, it's crazy. It really is crazy money. So, and they are still marketing in the old way. That's what really got up my nose, because I went in and looked at some of these. I signed up for a couple of them, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're not bringing anything new to the table. They're doing it in the same way that they've always done it. So that, you know, that got up my nose too, I have to admit. All right, so here I am. Okay, so please let me know if, you know, what does this sound like? Does this sound like a good deal? Does it sound like something that's going to support you in your author journey, and that's going to help you sort of put out a book that you're going to be proud to stand behind, something that you are going to proudly want to, look, I've got, you see, I don't even, proudly want to, you know, hold it up in front of you, because you know that everything you've put into this book is coming to bear, and that it's worthy of the content. The marketing is working for you. You're making sales every day. You're getting new people on your list every day. If those sort of things are important to you, then having the helping hand of the Success Author System is really going to make the difference for you. And I have found that by implementing this system myself, and also with the clients, the authors that I have worked with, it makes all the difference. It simplifies things, but it also shows you the kind of insider tricks and the copywriting and marketing aspects that most authors do not think about. So that's it. That's my pitch. I hope you learned a ton today. As I said, I did go through it pretty quickly, and I'm blown away that I have finished within an hour, because I know that I've done this webinar before and I've added more to it, and it took me like an hour and 15 minutes. So I know I moved fast, but please, you know, you have a replay. The replay will be available until Friday night as well. So I will be sending that out to you tomorrow. But act now, and you've got 24 hours to get that fast action bonus. And I would love to see you on the inside. I would love to be the support person for you, working through getting your book out of your head and into the world and selling. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Bye.